When the king moved away, I looked at my producer, my Thai journalist colleague, and both of us were speechless.
Your Majesty, sir, these people love you, but what do you say to the protesters who've been on the streets who want reform?
I have no comment.
No comment.
We love them all the same. We love them all the same. We love them all the same.
Is there any room for compromise, sir?
Oh, Thailand is a land of compromise.
Okay.
A little invitation went out in the Thai language on the PRD, the Public Relations Department, line group. It was seen by my Thai colleague who suggested we have a go. I waited for 7 hours wearing my wool suit and a tie inside the palace, watching the preparations for the royal walkabout. When the king came out of Wat Phra Kiao, and started going down the lines of royalist supporters, we filmed inside the palace, and there were special branch people there, and there were members of royal protection, and they were aware of my presence and that of my cameraman, and nobody stopped us. When we went outside the palace gates and were confronted with this sort of like enormous crowd of yellow-shirted royalist supporters, I spotted my CNN crew behind Buddha Isara. The reason they chose that spot was because we knew that in the previous walkabout, the week before, the king had actually stopped to talk to him. And we thought, well, maybe there's a chance that he'll do the same again. And he did. I thought, oh, God, no, please just don't say no comment. There's so much to comment on. And I was sort of like urging him to say something meaningful. I was pleasantly surprised to hear him say something brief, but, you know, meaningful. And I chose to speculate in my report that he had somehow presented a possible way out. The monarch says Thailand is a land of compromise. To me, that suggests that, well, we're open to discussion or suggestion. That's what it means to me. When the king moved away, I looked at my producer, my Thai journalist colleague, and both of us were speechless. We hadn't dared to hope that this might happen, and we'd just done an interview with the king. It was a first, and more than that, he'd actually said something quite interesting, brief as it was. After our report had gone out on air, I was braced for you know, the anger of the palace to be brought in by the foreign ministry, which accredits us as foreign journalists. But I didn't get anything. I recognized that Thai journalists have felt always unable to do what I did. But I come from a journalistic tradition in which we hold the powerful to account. And as a correspondent, I've done this in many countries over the world, but it is simply seeking answers from people who have been silent, but have a position of authority and leadership. It's not my place as a journalist to push anything politically, but just as a human being, I want to see this end peacefully.